Hi there, and welcome to the ATS podcast with me, Will Brown, and John Soulsby, where we break down chunks of health and fitness information into bite sized pieces, remove a bunch of the noise, and just leave what's relevant. Today we are on episode number 38, which is alcohol and recovery.
Yeah.
I feel like this one's going to be reasonably resonative with the audience. I actually had to look back into this, so
Yep.
having a look through the literature, it's not surprisingly dense, um, mainly because it's actually kind of hard to isolate in that, like, I don't think there's a bit of literature on how alcohol affects performance, like in the acute, i.e., you get
Yep.
sauced at various stages and then try like 1RM or like VO2 max test,
hmm
which I can only imagine being horrendous.
Yep.
I can't imagine anything worse than getting steaming and then trying to
Nope.
like trying to do like a proper like max watt test on the bike or something.
Mm. Oh, yeah.
In terms of
I.
lifting weights, I think it genuinely probably helps. It definitely limits your inhibition, so you're very
Well,
more
yeah.
likely to overshoot. Like RPE, it'll be there on the day is incredibly likely when you're pissed.
Well, there's a whole competition in the States, is it not? That's like whiskey and deadlifts or something like that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
weirdly, it's not even on the it's not even on WADA's unapproved list.
I suppose it's because it's not a performance enhancer, arguably.
Yeah, I
So
think
it's
that
like, who
says it
cares?
all. Yeah, I
Yeah.
mean, if the people who are literal lawyers and glibans and scientists about figuring out which will benefit sporting performance and then banning them all haven't banned booze, it's probably a reason.
Yeah. I think as well, the reason there's not a lot of evidence on it's just like more layman is like, it's kind of obvious.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah,
why put research into does alcohol affect recovery? It's like having a glass of wine with dinner? Probably not. Smashing a bottle every night? Absolutely.
yeah.
It's like you're kind of like, this is just sensible.
Yeah. Also, everyone who has ever woken up with a hangover has probably also understood that if someone came along was like, right, it's gasser time. It's time to work
hmm
on. It's time for our fucking intense cardiovascular session of the week. You'll be like, no,
Or
hard
depending on
no.
how bad it is, it's time to walk out the house. You're like, no, absolutely not.
Yeah.
Not happening.
It's like people have felt the encumbrance of a hangover when trying to accomplish basic human life
Hmm.
tasks. I can't imagine trying to train on one. Although I have done it, and it
Yeah,
was terrible.
horrible.
Lifting whilst intoxicated, much much easier than lifting when hungover. Like I'd rather do that 10
Yeah.
times out of 10. Um,
Um,
the other things that to note are studies tend to impair recovery, or studies have shown that they tend to impair recovery, are mostly in dudes, because again, a lot of sports science is not caught up with the whole like
yay.
examining a solid spread of participants of various biological sexes. Um, and typically uses alcohol doses above the zero point 0.5 gram to kilogram of body mass ratios.
Yeah.
They, unsurprisingly, people have found it can impede recovery via affecting sleep, specifically sleep quality. It's not so good for a number of your hormones. Or apparently protein synthesis, which I wasn't aware of. So,
Hmm.
unsurprisingly, consistent intake of medium to high doses is a pretty bad move for people who want to optimize health, body composition, or performance. But I'm not entirely sure that's going to be groundbreaking, earth-shattering news to anyone.
No, I think that's where it's like, why pump tons of money at the moment into something that is fairly obvious, to be honest. Obviously, what you're saying is the ins and outs of why it's bad for you. We don't really know, but that's because it's just so universally. It's like there's loads, but it would almost be like now if you're like, oh, should we do a study on is smoking bad for cardiovascular performance? Like, no, you don't need to. Like, it's, it is. Um,
Yeah, because they've even just rereading some of the summaries I found, they've actually tested pretty high levels of intoxication in terms of performance,
mm,
and they generally haven't been impeded that much. So you really could not really be far off PBs whilst absolutely smashed.
yeah. I think any skill performance is where it really hits in.
Oh yeah,
I
very
remember
very different
watching.
golf.
We'll
Well,
go back to
John
some
Daly,
peak
actually.
sport.
Never mind.
Yeah, some peak sports science literature here. And do you remember the old? I can't remember what the TV program was, but the one they had Ray Lewis going through the door.
Oh, I think that literally was called Sports Science, was it not?
There we are. Exactly. Perfectly legit. Amazing. But they did one with a basketball player where they got him to shoot threes and then essentially shoot threes whilst hammered. And it was hilarious, the difference.
Oh yeah, that would be bad. Like again, how John Daly is quite as successful is genuinely flabbergasting. That man needs studied.
So it's golf.
But that's quite coordinative, no? I mean, I don't play, but that
Well,
seems.
true, but I don't think he plays too buzzed. He
Hmm.
just smokes on his way around.
I'm trying to find the name of that show, but I can't.
But
I
yeah, the
can't.
man's animal.
I can't find the clip very quickly.
It
The
was something like sports science or something like that.
Yeah, with the kind of very like nondescript white guy presenter. Because I remember Chris
Essentially,
Jenkins.
Scott Hansen.
Yeah, because Chris Jenkins, the old nose tackle for the Jets, like launched him about 8 feet.
Yeah.
They like gave him like two back-to-back gymnastics mats, and the guy literally just threw him around like an empty tracksuit. It was pretty bad.
I think it was called sports science.
Yeah, potentially. So yeah, I think this one's pretty open and close. It's don't intake medium to large amounts of alcohol on the reg if you give a shit about your health, performance, or body composition.
Yeah.
Bing. Dunzo.